Okay, hi everyone. I think we're gonna start soon. So if you can take a chair, take a seat, that would be great. I'll wait a couple of seconds for people to sit down and then we can start. But first of all, thank you very much for coming here and for your interest in this project, to you in the room, but also everyone online. So today we will talk to you more about our project, so the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub. And the main reason why we are here is to officially launch the technical assistance procedure, where we're going to offer support to energy community in rural areas in Europe to start and develop, or for any other type of support they might need. But you will learn more about it later during the presentation. So first of all, some housekeeping. So if you need a Wi-Fi, these are the passwords for people here joining the event in the room. So if some of you don't want to be recorded, there are seats in the back so that we won't record you. And yeah. And then the refreshment, as you already know, are at the back of the room. Toilets are outside the door on the left. And later, well, actually pretty soon, we will start with some Mentimeter questions. So if you can take your mobile phone and then connect to the Wi-Fi or to the network, that will be really helpful so that we can ask you some question and have a little bit more of an interactive moment. So first of all, this is the agenda. So we will start with a little bit of an introduction from Achille Ansonet, who is the project officer from the DG ENER for this project. Then I'll give you a little bit of an overview about the Rural Energy Advisory Hub, what is our aims, what are our tasks, and what we are planning to do over the next year and a half that is left under this project. After that, LOD will talk you about the technical assistance launch, how to apply for it, and what type of support we can offer. We will then have a moment for question and answer. So if you have any question about the technical assistance, we will be happy to answer your question. We have a little bit of a refreshment break, and then we'll hear more about two inspiring stories. So we have two external speakers joining us remotely to talk about their stories of setting up an energy community. One is an Italian energy community. They're starting now the process of setting up. And one is a German umbrella organization. So quite a long stories from them on how to become a bigger organization and helping other energy community to start or to develop. After that, we'll give you a presentation about some of the progress that we made on this project. So something more about rural energy community landscape in different countries. And we'll show you some of the guidance document that we have already created and some of the best practices. And finally, we have a little bit of an interactive section on Mentimeter to ask you what would you like to see in the coming month from this event. And the interactive sessions are also for everyone online. So people online, please also join the Mentimeter and answer. So yeah, so first, I'll give you the floor to Achille. Let's see if, yeah, hi. So this Achille is the project officer of the Rural Energy Communities, and he will give a little bit of an opening speech.
Yes, thank you, Eugenia. I hope everyone in the room and online can hear me. So, dear participants, it's my great pleasure to kick off today's launch of the call for technical assistance of the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub. This is an initiative by the Commission to boost the development of energy communities in rural areas, as well as engage farmers, local authorities, and citizens, of course, in the energy transition. Now, I don't have to recall it for the audience, perhaps, but we are living in times of an energy crisis with a climate change-induced strict winter on our doorstep. And to face this challenge, many measures and solutions have been brought forward, one of them being the energy communities. The Commission has set out an ambitious target in the EU Solar Strategy as part of Repower EU to have one renewable energy-based energy community per municipality with a population higher than 10,000 by 2025. The reason for this ambition is not without reason. Is not without logic, sorry. Energy communities can accelerate the energy transition by increasing its acceptance and mobilizing private investments in renewable energy projects. Moreover, based on their value over profit mentality, they have less incentive to expand their customer portfolio beyond available production capacity and have a unique position where they can offer fixed price contracts to their members, which is something that is quite exceptional these days. Aside from direct financial benefits, energy communities can also be a vehicle to stimulate the local economy, employment opportunities for youth and companies. Moreover, energy communities can help deliver on a just transition, where local actors have a meaningful say in the implementation and operation of renewable energy projects and share in derived benefits such as yearly dividends and social activities. Energy poor can also be supported, especially when collaborating with local authorities. Pre-financing of shares, third-party financing schemes, power purchase agreements, free of charge audits can all be part of energy community actions on energy poverty. The time is thus right for these projects to flourish, tapping into the space potential of rural areas and the feedstock of farmers to build together community-owned wind farms, biogas plants, and solar farms. The technical assistance provided by the Commission will help projects from aspiration to implementation and operation of these projects through the provision of technical, legal, and/or financial advice. That's all from my side. I wish you all a very informative session, and I gladly pass the floor back to Eugenia for more information on the initiative. Thank you.
Okay, so before we start on giving you more information about the project, we would like to hear a little bit more from you. So everyone in the room and also people online, can you please take your mobile phone and go to www.menti.com and enter the code 14040059. Okay. So you should, can I have the Mentimeter slide on? Are you in? Can you raise your hand if everything is working? Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. So the first question that you should see is asking you to enter your name and your country. But maybe I need to actually say, to give you the permission to enter your name and the country. Yeah, okay, so now you should be able to see it. And hopefully we will see on the screen coming up some of your answers. Or this is just for information, I think. Sorry, I'm not that familiar with Mentimeter, but the next question will be will be better. Okay, so the next question is, which stakeholder group are you representing? So we would like to know, where do you see it in all the actors that are involved in energy communities? So you are part of an energy community, local authorities, consultant, I think there was there, farmers, policy maker, we have quite a few local authorities, and energy community, cooperative, others. So quite a few others answering. So there are still answers coming through. So I'll leave it a little bit. So it looks like there are quite a few others that we haven't really gathered in our options, but local authorities, energy community, cooperatives, technical expert on energy communities, legal expert, EU body or institution, policymaker, research, students, farmers, and others. I think we can move to the next question. So what we would like to know is how would you rate your knowledge of energy community? Do you feel like you have a full understanding of what an energy community is, you somehow know what it is, or you have a limited understanding of an energy community? Okay, somehow the majority feel like they know somehow, well, 50-50. Okay, so it looks like we have quite a good, knowledgeable audience today. Okay, so next question. So are you a member of an energy community? Okay, the vast majority is not. Hopefully we will convince you to become one or start your own energy community after this event. Okay. Next question. So if you are part of an agriculture cooperative, would you be interested in becoming an energy community? If you are not part of an agriculture cooperative, then don't feel like you need to answer, of course. But okay, this is interesting. This is something that we are looking to help and throughout the project as well. Next question. Oh, sorry, yeah. So if you're not involved in an energy community, would you like to become a member of one? Hopefully most of the answer here will be yes, otherwise you wouldn't be here, I think. Okay, yeah. Oh, there was one no, okay. That's fine. There must be a good reason there, but I'm not going to investigate why. Okay, so next question. So yeah, this is an open question. If you are a member of an energy community, could you tell us what made you become a member? And if you are not, what would convince you to become a member? If there is any reason that you would like to share with us. It could be the environment, it could be lower energy price. Okay. To make more EU sustainable and less dependent from other countries, economical advantages, environment. I'm part of the Ministry of Energy, okay. Greener life, prosumer, sustainability, an energy community in my country, environment, sustainability, energy poverty, energy independence, environment, cheaper energy, collaboration with the others. Okay, really, really good reasons. And yeah, because we will see there are lots of benefits that can come as a spillover of energy communities for the community itself, for the people part of the energy community. So these are all good insights. Okay, I'll leave it open for a little bit longer, and then I'll start with the presentation. So this is all for the Mentimeter at the moment. So knowledge of sustainability. There was support for our community through the Irish Sustainable Energy Authority. So here, yeah, exactly. The involvement of local authorities is often quite a key point to develop an energy community. Trading capacity, green energy, access to know-how, so knowledge sharings, knowing how, and also learning more about the production of energy, the consumption of energy. They're all really good reasons. Okay, public-private partnership, mobilizing collaboration in rural areas to generate individual benefit. This is also very important. So how can we incentivize also the rural community, the farmer especially, to be involved in energy projects and in energy communities is something that we are really keen to understand and help to incentivize more. Okay, so if we go back to the presentation slides. Okay, perfect. So I'll give you a little bit of an introduction about this project and who we are and what we will be doing in the next few months. So first of all, I'm Eugenia Bonifazzi. I am the project manager of the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub. And yeah, let me guide you through some of the overview, the aims, and the expected achievement of this project. So first of all, I'll give you a little introduction on why rural energy communities are important. who we are, so who is the team behind this project, what the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub is for, objective and aims, and the Rural Community Repository, which is another project I will mention, is parallel to our project that does similar activities, and I'll introduce you to this project as well in case you're not aware of them. So why rural energy communities are important? First of all, they are a key method or way to advancing the European Green Deal. So they are especially important in the relation to the EU climate objectives. As we said also, as we heard from Achille, in this current situation, they are a really good method to decrease dependency from other countries and also increase the knowledge of energy production and energy consumption across the citizens. So they provide active participation of local authorities and citizens, so creating a little bit more of this community environment. They ensure the rural areas are not left behind, so rural areas, they also feel part of this transition, and they can also look for partnership with city area, so making the whole system more cohesive and engaging. They can help to operationalize local development plans, and they can give input to common agriculture policy, rural development, and farmer modernization. So we believe they are quite of a key method to really engage with the rural areas and help Europe to transit to the European Green Deal and the transition to the more sustainable and renewable energy. So, however, there are lots of barriers that the energy community will face. Some of them will be physical constraints because of the remoteness that they often, situation that they often are. They could have social economic barriers, technical barriers, or not as much technical knowledge on how to set up energy projects. They might have difficulties in knowledge sharing, so reaching out to other realities that are happening in other parts of the countries or in the same member state, or they might find difficulties to engage with the right citizen and the right actors or institutions in the area to make sure that their voice is heard and then to start up the community. So one of the things that we will do through this project is to help community to tackle some of these challenges through our technical assistance provision. So who we are? There is a team of 3 main partners. Ricardo is leading the organization and the consortium. Ecoris is supporting and is leading on the technical assistance provision. And then we have also collaboration with the ELARD expert, which are experts on the rural development of the rural area. Here you can see some of our faces. We are all in the room except Chris, but then we also have a large team of other experts, the IT expert, the website management. So it's quite a large team of us that will provide you with all the assistance that we can. So what is this project for then? The Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub is an initiative from the European Commission, which aims to accelerate the development of sustainable energy community projects in European rural areas. And to do so, we will do 3 main activities. So we will aim to identify best practices across Europe. So communities that have succeeded in either setting up or in either becoming a larger community, producing energy. There could be various reasons why they are selected as best practices, but we are currently running a mapping and interviews to understand and map all this community. We will provide technical assistance to selected energy communities, and we'll also give opportunity for networking and engaging with local stakeholders. So this is one of these events, but then if you join our network, we will, in the next few months, we will make more networking opportunities there as well. We have a newsletter, so we are trying to create a little bit of a community or a network around this topic. So the first activity, as I said, is the identification of best practices. So we are collecting information through surveys and interviews. We are trying to understand through our real network, we are understanding the landscape that is currently in all the member states for support of energy communities. This is a really fast and evolving situation at the moment, also considering the current energy scenario. So we are keeping an eye on what's happening in all the different countries. We will identify barriers and key action drivers and recommendations, and we'll develop case studies which will be distributed to all the network through the website and the newsletter. So the main output of this task will be a database of energy community in collaboration with the repository project, the development of 20 case studies, and a report of rural actions and activity landscape in Europe. And you will learn a little bit more about these two final points later during the day. We will give you a little bit an overview of the case studies that we are developing, and also overview of some countries that we have that we are going to talk to you about as case studies. Then the second main task is the technical assistance provision. Elodie later will tell you all about the process and how to apply and what type of technical assistance community can receive. So we will select a number of community, and we will aim to give up to 40 activities of technical assistance. Technical assistance can be received on different topics, and we will later explain everything. And there are 3 types of technical assistance: more extensive technical assistance, more concise support, maybe on some specific topic, and then you can also get an extension of the assistance. The technical assistance is all expert advice. So you will receive a number of days from an expert that can help you to answer some of your questions. It could be legal, or how to get finance, how to get started, and so on. So the technical assistant procedure has been launched, is open on our website. So you can start looking at the application form, and and there will be 2 cut-off date, one in October and one in December. But yes, Elodie will tell you more about that later. And then the final task will be about networking and knowledge sharing. So here, what we have done, we have created a website which is live online, and you can access to it. We have a newsletter. We will aim to send over the second newsletter at the end of September. So if you haven't joined the newsletter yet, I invite you to do so. We will organize 3 large conferences. This is our second conference. They are all online. They're all recorded, so they will also be available on the website. There are people online listening to us, people on the roof, so they'll all be in hybrid, and then we will organize a final one at the end of the project. We are also creating a network for energy community and actors through the website, so you can join our network, and we will do some more activities with all the people that join our networks. And also we are creating documents and video to help community to learn more and basically shorten the knowledge curve. We will talk to you later about 2 of the guidance documents that we have already created and that are available on the website, and we will ask you some questions also on what you would like to see as further activity and future guidance documents. So then finally, the Energy Community Repository. So this is another project that is similar to So the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub is concentrating on rural areas, rural activities. So we are giving technical assistance to those communities that are in rural area. However, there is another project that is doing similar activities like technical assistance, developing of guidance documents, and mapping of community that is concentrating on urban communities. They are called the Energy Community Repository. They have 3 main activities: data collection and analysis, technical assistance, so they also have an application form on their website, impact assessment, and toolbox and best practices. So yeah, this is the website, and their email address. All this information and these slides will be available on the website, but if you want to take a picture, please do so. Yes, so they are basically our parallel project concentrating more on urban energy communities. Okay, so this is all from me. I hope I gave you a little bit of an understanding on who we are and what we're going to do. So yes, so now I leave the floor to Elodie, who is going to talk to us, I think, for what you really want to see. So technical assistance, how you can apply, and how we're going to run it, basically. Thank you very much.
Hello, hi, good afternoon. My name is Elodie Sal, and I'm leading the task on the delivery of technical assistance under this project. I will be giving first a presentation, so I have a couple of slides on explaining the process of how to apply to the technical assistance, and then we have time for questions. So for people online, but also in the room, you have questions, I'll try to reply to them. So first of all, why are we having this technical assistant task? So first of all, there are two main objectives, so overall objectives to this task. First is, of course, to help people on the ground wanting to either develop, so establish, create a rural energy community, or also helping a community which is already established. So it's to provide technical assistance, as Eugenia was saying, which is basically a couple of number of days which are given to a community. So it's advice, support from an expert on different topic. I'll be explaining the different type of technical assistance that we will be also delivering, but there are several aspects to it. And then the second objective, which is, I think, also very important, knowing that in some countries, rural energy communities are not so well known. It's also to inspire other communities or people, stakeholders about rural energy communities, and why not then creating one later on. So who can apply? First of all, we are targeting, as I was saying, already established energy communities or communities who want to be rural energy communities. So we are looking, of course, at the EU definition of the two directives, so the Renewable Energy Communities Directives and the Citizens Energy Communities Directive, of which the community itself or one of the projects or activities they are carrying out are located in a rural area. So for this particular aspect, we are looking at an already existing tool, which is the GERBA classification. I know it sounds a bit technical, but basically the GERBA means degree of urbanization, and is looking at the population density per square kilometer. And based on this methodology, it's dividing an area into three types of areas, so either city, town and suburb, or rural area. So this is a tool that it's being used also by the European Commission in our projects. So we haven't, let's say, invented anything, but we are just basing our classification into this GERBA methodology. Second of all, it's important to know that if an electricity citizen energy community wants to switch to biogas supply, for instance, this will be also eligible for technical assistance. So there are first eligibility criteria and then assessment criteria. The 6 eligibility criteria are all on the slides. It's worth maybe mentioning at this point that what I'm going to present now is all in the guidance notes that has been translated in all 24 EU languages. So everything is on the website. It's much more detailed, of course. I'm just doing a summary for you today and presentation. You'll be able to ask questions. But basically, everything is also in a document, so you can, if you feel a bit lost today, don't worry. So the first, 6 eligibility criteria are on the screen. First, it needs to be an energy community, basing ourselves also still on the European Commission directives, or the EU directives, sorry. looking at the membership, the participation structure, the governance of the community, who is in control, and also the primary purpose of the community. Then we look at the geographical scope. Of course, we're looking also only at the EU territory, so EU member states, and a community which is located in a rural area, as I was explaining before. We're looking also at the legal form of the community, so the composition of the community has to be either a legal entity, an informal community of actors, or collective of actors. The eligibility of members will also be looked at, so all community members must be eligible to participate in project per EU regulations. The commitment of members is also quite important for the delivery of technical assistance, so we'll be looking at the motivation and the commitment of all members, or at least the core members, to receive support. There's also need for primary community representatives. This is linked to the fifth eligibility criteria, so one main contact person would need to be also our main regular contact person with the team, and especially the expert who will be providing the expertise. As Eugenia was saying, we have a sister project which is called the Energy Community Repository. They also have at the moment they have launched a call for application to deliver also technical assistance. So there's also a call running in parallel. We are in regular contact with them. So just for you to know, they are targeting non-rural areas. So it's more for urban type of activities. It's obviously not possible to receive support from both projects. And we are, in any case, exchanging information. So if, for instance, one community located in a rural area, which is also eligible for this project, is applying to the other technical assistance process, we will be exchanging, or at least discussing this matter. If the applications are not eligible under the advisory hub, we'll be also seeing the possibility to transfer the application to the repository. Again, they have a dedicated web page where they have also further information on the project and on the type of technical assistance, as they're not providing specifically the same type of technical assistance. So it's a bit different, but just for you to know that there's this sister project also running in parallel. So what type of technical assistance are we planning to provide? There are 5 in total, starting with the investment and final assistance to rural energy communities. So it can be, for instance, helping or supporting the development of a business plan, for instance, or looking at possibility or what are the possible fundings, opportunities or sources out there or open in the country. Second of all, there's the second type of technical assistance is more technological driven, so everything which has to do more technical parts on what type of, for instance, energy sources the community wants to specify on or wants to have a bit more information. So this is this technology and system related advice. Then another type of support or advice that will be given to rural energy community is the legal and regulatory support. So this is, for instance, helping the community to understand the legal framework in a certain member states or in a certain area. So sometimes I know it can be a bit overwhelming to see all those rules. So here the idea is to help and assist the community to understand what is out there, what is possible and what is not possible. There will be also some communication support. So this type of support is more targeted for communities which are already pretty well established and would like to have a bit of promotional activities being implemented. So this is also possible for this type of supports. And then the last one on capacity development and knowledge transfer support. This is also something which is more targeted for more established communities. The type of support also can be either what we call extensive or concise. What is meant by that? So extensive is around 20 days of expert support, and then concise, it's up to 5 days of support. So depending on the need of the community, it's also, this will be a discussion between us, the expert, and the community, and also in seeing and assessing what is the best type of support or length of support that will be given to a community. There's also a possibility to have multiple, or to receive multiple type of support. So this is done through one application, so no need to apply several times. You just need to indicate which type of support you would like, for instance, to combine. So, I don't know, finance and legal support, for instance. This is possible. Here, of course, the idea is not to tick all the boxes, but to be as precise and detailed as possible in your application, saying this is my needs, and therefore I would like to have the combination of 2, maybe 3 type of supports. So in terms of timing, so today is the official launch of the technical assistance of the advisory hub. As Eugenia was saying, there will be a first cut-off date at the end of October. So by then we'll have a first, let's say, wave of applications, and we'll be assessing them until then. And then there will be a second cut-off date, which will be the final deadline. It's the end of December, and this will be the closure of the application process. So in terms of timing, also to get some notification about the application, we are planning to at least inform applicants by the end of the year or early January, depending also on the amount of applications we receive. And then in January until autumn next year, we'll be implementing the technical assistance. Maybe here it's worth mentioning that we are running in parallel now a pilot phase. So we are in contact with several rural energy communities and experts just to test out a bit the methodology and see if there's any changes to be made to the process. So we have selected a really small number of communities, and we are working also with some experts in delivering also technical assistance in the coming month, so until the end of the year for sure. So the application process. So it started with the submission of an application. I'll be showing you later some screenshot, but there's a dedicated web page through EU survey, so the common kind of questionnaire methods that the Commission is using. So submission of the application, then there's a pre-assessment, looking at the eligibility of the applicants to receive the technical assistance. Once this eligibility phase is passed, then we go into the assessment and looking at the assessment criteria, which I will detail in a couple of minutes. Then we select the selected rural energy communities who will receive technical assistance, and then we notify all the applicants. So this is how it looks like. On the bottom left, you'll see what you have. It's a screenshot of the main web page of the project on the DG NR website. And if you click on the link, you'll have a new page will open where you have the EU survey, and you have a couple of pages that you can see also on the screen. On the bit of introductions, we'll be asking a couple of questions about, get information about your community, about the why you are applying, and so on. And then it should be relatively short, but at the same time, we need sufficient information for us to be able to look at eligibility and also assessment criteria. So take a bit of time. Don't wait until the end, of the process to submit your application, knowing that sometimes you will need to submit a letter of intent. It takes a bit of time. You may need also to consult colleagues or other people. So my advice is also to look carefully at the application form. There's also an email address, so in case you have questions, don't hesitate to let us know. What you see on the right side of the slide is the guidance notes for technical assistance. So this is the document I was mentioning before. It's a document really describing step by step all the questions that is in the application form. So in case you have a doubt or question, I recommend you to first look at the guidance note, and then if you're really stuck, you can also, of course, email us. This document is available in all 24 EU languages, so hopefully that will be also clear for everyone. And yes, everything is described, as well as the own process and everything, so everything should be at least transparent. So in terms of the assessment criteria, I'm not going to go into details, but just naming them I think is quite important to look at what we'll be exactly assessing while looking at all your applications. So of course the type of actors we'll be looking at, okay, is this natural persons or maybe small enterprise, larger enterprise, or local authority? The level of maturity of the community, is it setting up, is it developing, is it already operating? So this is type of information which is important. Of course, there's not right or wrong answer, don't worry, but just for us to better understand where you're coming from. The level of future sustainability, so it's a bit, okay, what are your plans? What do you already have a kind of idea of where the community would be in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years, I don't know, just to understand a bit if this is something you have already thought about. The number 4 is quite important, the need of assistance. So why are you applying to technical assistance? This is quite important for us to understand, okay, what is your need actually? The type of assistance, the 5 categories I mentioned before, is quite important to also understand from our side, okay, why are you specifically also applying to this type of support, and explaining also the reason behind, so the rationale. The impact of the assistance, so also linked to the why. So I guess you are looking for some results, tangible results at the end. So it's also important for you to take some time to describe the impact of the assistance. The level of reasonability. Here we are talking about looking at asking you to think about what kind of assistance you would like to have, and not asking 6 months full days, super long, or something like that. It's just to understand a bit, okay, is it reasonable also for us to look at and to grant you the technical assistance, because we are looking also at all the EU member states. We want to be as fair as possible, so we want to also grant to most of the applicants and technical assistance. Level of scope and resources, looking also at the this is linked also to the one before, so the scope of the technical assistance, what will be the resources that the community will also offer during the technical assistance. It can be few things, but can also change quite significantly the delivery of technical assistance. Support from local authority, that's also quite important to when establishing or wanting to continue the operation of the rural energy community, to have a local authority also being involved. As you may know, this is something which is usually quite helpful, and really can be also a driver in the implementation of a project or on some activities. So this is also important for us to know if there's indeed some backup from local authority. Best practice potential, as it was mentioned before, we are also looking at good examples to inspire other potential communities. So we'll be also looking into that, if this is something you will be also interested in. Support from EU national regional schemes. So this is also what we'll be looking at. So for instance, if there's already some funds being implemented or used in one of your activities or projects that the community is also taking part in. And then commitment of human resources, this is more linked to, okay, this one person being available and have some capacity in the coming weeks or months just to be there with the experts and having some meetings, having some calls, just to have a counterpart from the rural energy community side. And then the implementation process. So once the rural energy community has been selected to receive technical assistance, there are mainly 3 steps. One is the preparation of the technical assistance, which is basically the assignment, which consists of the assignment of a suitable experts. I'll be coming to that in a couple of minutes, but we have a database with experts who will be providing technical assistance. We'll be developing specific terms of reference, so like really to put documents on paper what the technical assistance will be about, and the work plan. So it can be something really simple, but just it's important to organize and structure the technical assistance in such a way that it's useful for the expert, but also meaningful for the community. Then the execution of technical assistance. This is the core of this is the why also we are doing everything. So here will be the expert delivering the technical assistance, so executing the tasks that will be also agreed under the terms of reference. The advisory hub won't be the main contact point, but also monitoring the implementation of the technical assistance. So participating to some meetings, making sure that everything goes to plan. If there's any issue, these kind of things will be there also to support. And then the last part, which is also quite important, is the feedback part. So feedback on technical assistance, providing feedback on the overall process, how the technical assistance has been delivered, everything has been implemented to plan. So that's quite important. How to apply, I was mentioning before, there's an EU survey, so everything is online. This is the link, you won't be receiving it afterwards because the slides will be made available. Everything is on the guidance note, and if there's any question, you have the website here. So reka@ecoris.com. Ecoris is the company, so I'm working for it, so this is what's there. If there's any question, don't hesitate. Maybe a couple of words about the call for expert that is running in parallel. It's actually already online, and we already received over 50 applications, so that's good news. And the main objective is to identify experts who might be available and ready to provide technical assistance to rural energy communities who will be selected under the call. So it's part of the process, so initial meeting with the energy community that will be organized by us. So we have a first meeting to understand, okay, what are your needs and everything. Of course, the application form will be shared beforehand to the experts, just to have a first understanding of what are the needs. But the first meeting will be organized by us to get to know each other and to really understand the needs and agree on the different tasks that will be performed. Then there's a development of a work plan, a short report at the end, just portraying the provided technical assistance just to document the support which will be given to the rural energy community. And of course, if you are interested, if you know somebody who could be interested in the organization, I invite you to share the link. That would be great. And I think that's just my last slide on just some screenshot of, on the left side, what you will see on the web page of the project. So how it looks like, with a short introductory text on the call, and then just a link for you to fill in the short form that you see on the right side. A couple of questions we'll be asking you for your CV, for the languages that you speak, and so on. And I think with that, this is my last slide. Yes. So I think now we can open up the floor for questions. I think first we take the questions from the room, right, Thomas? And then we go to the questions that participants may have online. So do you have any questions or doubts?
Yes, thank you very much. It's not a question, but it's a comment. My name is Hartmut Berndt, and I'm from Germany, and from the region where the first bioenergy village was developed. It's Unde, some of you may know this. And after Unde was starting, we tried to find a way to convince other villages to go the same way. And we did it with a great team from the university, from the local authority. And we started with a competition and with a selection process. There were 30 villages who wanted to go this way, and at the end 4 more villages were successful. And to summarize my experience from this process is that I'm afraid that in this project that you showed us, things are seen a little bit too easy. It takes much more time to convince a community to go that way. We went to each of these villages, and not one time, not for 1 or 2 days, but for weeks, for months, for years at the end. And I think you have to be aware of this. Even if you say you start now or in October with the application process, a local authority needs some months to have a decision, but to prepare this decision, a lot of information have to be collected, and you must know people who will be with you, and they cannot decide until end of the year. And they even are asked to say, what are your problems? You don't know your problems when you're at the moment of starting. They will come month later. They will come when you go the first steps. So I'm really afraid that these constructions of supporting communities who want to go this way are too complicated, and they do not really take into account the problems on the ground. When we went into the villages, I can tell that as long as we were only the experts that came, the people thought they want to sell us a new concept. We haven't been successful in those villages. The project must be the projects of the people, and I'm afraid it's very difficult to go this way from the European level, and I think it's impossible with 6 days of expert support. So I think there must be a lot of other supporting processes to really help communities to go that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I fully agree. I think it's a very long process, and our ambition is not to provide just 5 days of expertise and then everything is okay and the rural energy communities are settled in. It's just a way of, as I said before, and one of the objectives is also to maybe inspire other communities, and hopefully the ones who will be applying for technical assistance will be already interested in becoming or receiving some help. It's also something it's a long process. We talk about the European Green Deal also. It's not something that would be implemented fully by the end of the year. We have given more than 3 months for technical assistance application also. So it's hopefully can give also sufficient time to have necessary meetings and discussions with the local authorities. But I fully take your points, and I agree with you, and it's just that we are also part of it's a process. And again, our ambition is not to have the best rural energy communities ever. It's just to have to support the ones who are already starting some activities, just to give a bit of support, and or maybe to help the ones who would like to create such type of community. So hopefully there's not a huge amount of days, but we just take part in the whole process as a local authority or any type of stakeholders willing to develop or implement rural energy communities.
Hello. Yeah.
Hi.
I'm Joanna Story. I'm a senior lecturer at the Estonian University of Life Sciences, and I lecture on bioeconomy, nature-based solutions and strategic local planning. I'm also a member of an expert working group looking at ecosystem services and mitigating for biodiversity loss. And one of my key questions would be, is there any support for the conservation of biodiversity in production of biogas? As landscape, I'm in the landscape architecture department, so we're looking more at, sort of the landscapes that provide the biomass for these sorts of units. But the concerns amongst the experts in the group that I'm part of in the Eclipse is that the biodiversity will be neglected because the ecosystem services of the production of energy will triumph, if you like, over biodiversity. And I've already seen this as a problem in a locality near where I live. I live in Latvia, and the biogas unit there basically ploughed up semi-natural grasslands, of which the EU are also funding to maintain those. So there's this dichotomy where, on the one hand they're supporting biodiversity, and on the other hand there is a potential to lose it with these sorts of initiatives. So what support is there for the ecological dimensions of like biogas production and food security as well, because it could also impact on that?
Sorry. Thanks for your question. I think it depends also on first of all, on the need of the rural energy community and what type of support they're asking. And then it would be also a conversation that we'll need to have with the expert providing such type of support. So again, depending on the support that will be given, this is something that we will need to look into. But thanks for your question. I think it's very valuable points.
Hello. I have a question regarding choosing application. What is the procedure of choosing applications? Do you plan to choose the best ones or most challenging? This is the first question, and covering all Europe. Is there any interest to cover all Europe, or really to concentrate on best applications?
On your first question, so there will be we'll have basically an Excel file. Just also it will be a scoring system based on the assessment criteria, the 12 that I have mentioned here. It will be based on the one who has best score, basically, and the ones also depending on the experts available will be there. So it will be a combination of the scoring system, but also the availability and capacity of the experts. And then on your second question, we will make sure at least to try to have a balanced representation of all EU member states. Of course, it's difficult at this stage to know, but we will try to implement that. Yes. Any other question?
Hey, my name is Michal Soura and I represent the Czech Association of Small Municipalities. I would actually like to know what will be the level of detail. Like, I've seen 5 areas rather broadly defined, but what exactly can I get help with to get the point? Like, there's obviously difference in law in different countries. So do you expect to have experts on each national law? The same with technical assistance, like will it be possible to ask you to help with, I don't know, find resources for waste energy power plant, to help build a wind power plant or stuff like that? Like, what would be the detail I can ask you for?
You mean the detail in the form, or
No.
or
The detail of my need, like how detailed my need to advice can be. Like, can I ask you, can you help me build a wind power plant? Like, can you tell me what are the necessary steps I need to follow to build it? Or is it more broad, like, I don't know, political assistance, like building the community stuff kind of thing?
I think the more detailed you can be, the better it is.
No,
But it
you can be.
depends.
How much you can be? The question is to you.
Sorry.
So, yeah, the call for technical expert is exactly to try to give this level of detail. So we are hoping through this through this network that we are building, this roster that we are building of technical experts, to have legal expert for each country, technical expert for each country, technical expert for each single technology. So if you're asking us, I need a legal advisor for Czech Republic or any other country, Latvia, Lithuania, we really hope that we can basically merge you or match you with this type of expertise. We can't say that, yes, for sure, we will know everything about your country, but that's why we have this roster open. And the same thing for technologies, we are getting experience or application for expert on every single technology. So yes, we are hoping to be able to give more specific support to the energy community as much as possible. But of course, the better you write on your application as well, the easier it will be for us to match you with the right expertise.
Great, that's great news. Thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the room?
Maybe online.
Yeah, we have some online questions. Okay, so what is the definition of rural areas? They must have their own government, or they can be part of a municipality?
Okay, so as you know, there's no EU definition of rural areas. And projects implemented on behalf of the European Commission. So we have tried just for this project to define what are rural energy communities. You will find the full definition online, but as I was saying before, we have used the degree of urbanization classification, where basically through this method of mean, they look at the level of population density per square kilometer. And based on that, it's divided under local administrative units, to be precise, under 3 types of categories. So cities, then towns and suburbs, and then rural areas. And we will be looking at the third one, the last one, on rural areas. So I hope I have at least partially replied to the question, but as you know, it's difficult because there are no EU definition of what is the rural area. But again, we have tried to, at least for this project, because it's quite needed for this for the delivery of technical assistance, to define what are rural energy communities. So energy communities in rural areas, as I just explained.
Okay, so I am the coordinator of an energy community based in a rural town of North Italy. We applied to the Energy Community Repository. Can we apply to this program as well, or is it not possible?
So you can, but it's not possible to receive support from both projects. So this is why we've been in contact with the other project, but it's not possible to get double funding, basically.
What is the difference between extensive and concise support?
So it's in terms of number of days, as I said, extensive is around 20 days of expertise, expert support, and concise is up to 5. and with the possibility to add additional days.
So you said that a community can apply for multiple types of support within one application. Does this mean that they can apply for all support?
This is not recommended. As I said before, it's good to have a combination of, again, depending on the needs, 2 or 3, which make sense together, but not. I would not recommend all of them, because you need to be precise, again, as much detail as possible in your application, and I don't think 3 is reasonable, or all of them. Sorry.
What do you expect from the community during the delivery of technical assistance?
So basically having one person of contact, so I would say in commitment and capacity in time, that will be the most important thing.
And will there be another call for applications next year?
No, this is the only call for application under this project, so starting now until the end of December this year.
And can you elaborate more on the DEGURBA classification?
That's a DEGURBA classification. I just mentioned it now. It's a way of categorizing areas in the EU. So between rural areas, town and suburb, and cities.
And can a community based in an EU candidate or EFTA country apply?
No, we're only looking at EU member states.
And last question online I'm seeing at the moment is, in what languages will be TA provided?
We are aiming at having an expert from the country of the community providing technical assistance. So this is the objective.
Great, thank you. So I'm not seeing any more online questions. If there's no further questions from the room. Okay, thank you, Elodie.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think we have now a little break, 15 minutes break for some refreshments, some coffee, and to also give the possibility to the people at home to stand up if they wish to do so. And we will start again with the experience for 2 communities, one from Italy and one from Germany. So yeah, let's have a little bit of a break. Thank you. So now we have 2 stories from 2 energy communities that have accepted to join us remotely and tell us more about their story and what they've done in terms of energy communities. So the first speaker will be Antonio Pascale. He's from Terra Felix, an energy community in Italy, and the second one is Benjamin Dannemann from DGRV in Germany, which is an umbrella organization of energy community. So 2 different stories, but both, I hope you will find them very inspiring. So Antonio will speak first, if we have him on the screen. After his presentation, we can take some questions, and then I'll pass the floor to Benjamin. So only one technical question, sorry. Who is controlling the slide? It will be me? Oh, there, you, okay. So Antonio, we can see you, so you can start, I think.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for the invitation. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. I will talk more about who we are and why we are here. Can you show the first slide, please? Okay. I was saying that I will talk more about who we are and why we are here, because our project is at a very beginning stage. Next slide, please. Who we are? We are a social cooperative a form of non-profit company established in Italy. We have been founded 10 years ago in the south of Italy by a local group of Legambiente. Legambiente is the main organization for environmental protection in Italy. Next slide, please. We work We work on 4 main fields of action in the regeneration of common and cultural heritage and territorial regeneration. We work in innovation, especially in the agricultural and food production industry. And we work in green, so-called green revolution, to support companies and public bodies that want to undertake paths of sustainability and social innovation. And then we work on education and entertainment, so education training activities about sustainability. Next slide. It was 2 years ago, at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, that we started to run our rural innovation hub that is specifically working on food and agricultural fields. Next slide. And it was in the same period that we started the first crops on land confiscated from the mafia. We actually cultivate on 12 hectares in the largest farm confiscated from the mafia in the southern Italy. And we produce cardoon and wheat, and we manage also an environmental education center. We are in the south of Italy, near the city of Naples. Next slide. One of our first innovation project in agri-food is the production of cardoon. This project is not only a soil regeneration project, but also a circular economy project, because in this project we are partnered with Novamont, which is a big company established in Italy, working in circular economy sector. And from the seeds of the cardoon, they produce a basic compound for the production of bioplastic. And also they produce pelargonic acid, which is a natural, renewable and fossil-free herbicide. Next slide. But the cardoon seeds are alone represent just a small fraction of the whole plant. And so we began to use the other parts, such as the stem, as a substrate to produce mushrooms. And so this year, a new startup was born, which produces mushrooms from the residuals of cardoon seeds production. The mushroom, the kind of mushroom we are producing is called cardoncello. Thank you. Next slide, please. This project made us winners just last week of the Green Oscar Award from Coldiretti, the main association of agricultural producers in Italy. Next slide. All our projects and our entire history would not be possible without one main ingredient: networking. And it is in a network of about 100 of sustainable companies involved in circular economy, called Green Heroes, that we met El Nostra, Nostra is a cooperative engaged in renewable energy production and energy services. Next slide. With Nostra, the idea of a rural energy community was born. And so here we are. We have put together several partners called Diretti, the municipality, the local municipality, and the local agency for development, and also Legambiente, which is very powerful in terms of her capacity to talk with citizens and to be trusted as a non-profit and non-governmental organization. So we are excited to share this project with you, hoping to become the first rural energy community starting from property confiscated from the mafia. Next slide. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Antonio. Can I ask you the first question before opening the floor? I know that you are in contact with our team for technical assistance, and you have been selected as a pilot community to receive the technical assistance from our expert. So what is that you are looking for in this technical assistance?
Oh, in this, of course, we will work as part of the territory we will work by ourselves in the building of the network. In the technical for the technical part, we need to understand, to have a plan, like a technical business plan of all the operation of all the projects, and we need to understand also the mix of renewable and the numbers that we need to have a sustainable energy community. So I think this is the main aspect that we are looking for.
So you are a community at the moment, but you're not an energy community. So our support, the support that you receive this project, is to try to become also an energy community.
Exactly.
Okay. Anyone has any question from the room or also online? We can take some questions before passing the floor to Benjamin. Okay. Thomas, do we have anyone online?
No online questions.
Okay, so thank you, Antonio, and hopefully, we will hear from you soon after that you receive the technical assistance from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. So now we should have Benjamin Danneman. I'm sorry for my pronunciation, but Benjamin? Yeah, here he is. Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Greetings from Berlin, and looking forward to present you a bit about our energy communities, although they are not really yet energy communities, but they are trying to become ones in a way. We have a lot of energy cooperatives already in Germany, but the thing is now that we now have a new law, and I will present you some examples after I say a bit about us as an umbrella organization.
Okay, well, the floor is yours, so looking forward to hear your story. Thanks.
Okay. Just like I said, first I want to say a bit about our umbrella organization. So the DGRV here in Germany, and especially the National Office for Energy Cooperatives. And then I want to show you some examples of our 900 energy cooperatives that we have here in Germany, and about their aim to become energy communities as well. So first slide, please. So the German Cooperative Confederation is the national apex organization for all cooperatives in Germany, except for the housing cooperatives. They have our own confederation, but then we are working closely together with them. So we have the bankings, the agricultural, and also other businesses. And in Germany, we have 5,000 more than 5,000 cooperatives and nearly 20 million members. And we, as an umbrella organization, are doing everything concerning the cooperative law and also about the auditing of cooperatives as an umbrella. And what we also do is we work for the energy cooperatives, because it's a new phenomenon here in Germany that we have these energy cooperatives, especially in the rural areas, since now for like 15 years. And that's why there's not yet an own confederation just for the energy cooperatives. And that's why we as an umbrella organization are doing that for the energy cooperatives as well. And next slide. That's why we have here the German Office for Energy Cooperatives, the office that I'm working for as well. And we are doing all the representative and policy making stuff here in Germany. And we also support the energy cooperatives because they are mainly small businesses by developing new business models and implement new projects. And one of these new projects that we have now as in the new Renewable Energy Act since September 2022 is the implementation of renewable energy communities, or now we try to see what kind of projects are possible with this new legal form. And the first cooperatives will start doing projects as a energy community, I think, in the beginning of 2023. And next slide. So that doesn't mean that there is not yet been like energy communities in Germany from a general perspective, because all these energy cooperatives are mainly already doing what is there implemented and said in the law. So that is something that is already there existing. And as you can see, and as I said before, the energy cooperatives race in 2005 until 2021, more than 900 of them were established in Germany. So you can see that this is quite a new phenomenon. And you can also see that is very closely linked to the Renewable Energy Sources Act, which was implemented in the beginning of the 2000s. Next slide. Oops, I see a black. Okay. So just to sum it up, where we stand in Germany right now. So you see the numbers by yourself. What maybe is very interesting to see that the total share of the renewable electricity generation from energy cooperatives is 3.5%. That is maybe something to point out as well. So it's not like 50% of the renewable energy sources are from cooperatives, but it's more like 3.5%. Yeah. So, and now we want to go to into the examples. So next slide, please. We already have some more numbers. Maybe we can time-wise, see, okay, this is, there you see that mainly are individuals. So there are persons that are the members of the energy cooperatives. Just like I mentioned, they are already dealing with the, are in line with the renewable energy law and in line with the definition of energy communities. So the membership structure you see here. Maybe next slide. There you can see the total amount of members in the cooperative. Maybe next slide. And here you can see the different business activities that they are dealing with. So mainly electricity through PV, but also some district heating, some wind energy, and they are now going into new fields like e-mobility, car sharing, or also energy storage and something like this. So next slide. The first example from a energy cooperative which will be in line with the law and in line of the definition of the energy community is the Energiegenossenschaft Odenwald. They were founded 2009, so they already have a long history, and they have something like 3,000 members. And you can read the numbers. And what is very interesting is one very important thing is the regional organizations. So they are very local and regional organized. And all the 3,000 members are coming from the region. So it's not something that is from all Germany. It's really just in their region, which is very important for energy communities. And they are mainly doing PV installations, especially not only on rooftops, but also in the fields. Yeah, maybe next slide. So the next example is the climate community Saarbeck. They are really closely working together as well with the municipality, together with the local energy cooperatives, and they have something like an energy park, and they will establish also new projects, especially photovoltaic projects, in line with the new definition of energy communities. So next slide. And the Weiler Wärme is the last one. They started as a district heating cooperative in 2008, and now have more diverse business models. For example, they also have the car sharing with electric cars, as you can see in the picture below. And they are also looking to do projects in line with the new definition. So that is maybe a quick introduction into some German numbers and from our point of view as an umbrella organization, and also some examples from Germany. And yeah, happy to answer some of your questions if you have some.
Yeah, thank you. So are there any questions from the room or online? So from me is like, you are an umbrella organization now, but did you start as a community, or were you form an umbrella organization?
We were already existing as an umbrella organization before. So the national office for energy cooperatives was not formed as an energy community or something like that. So we are also part of the umbrella organization.
And so one of your roles, I think, is to help this cooperative or community to form and develop. Exactly. Do you also do like knowledge sharing, maybe outside Germany with other countries? Have you had any experience?
Yes, we are right now we are in one project together with other partners from Austria, Hungary, Bulgaria, and also have experienced some other projects before with Greece. So we are already making these knowledge transfer, because in Germany we have a lot of examples already existing and in line, just like I mentioned, with the law for energy communities, and we are of course there to also help, not only helping other European countries, but also linking energy cooperatives with other energy communities European-wide, or to see what also German energy cooperatives can learn from examples from Italy or from Austria.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Yeah, there are a couple of hands in the room.
Hello, my name is Rafael Serafin, and my question is, could you say something about the changes in the law you just referred to? What is it? I mean, Germany has a long history of energy cooperatives, so what is new, what is different in terms of the new law? Thank you.
In terms of the new law, so just like I mentioned, sometimes we now have a definition for, so in Germany called Bürgerenergiegesellschaften, so a legal definition of energy communities. And they are close to the definition of renewable energy communities in from the European directive, but we are in a way dealing with the German tradition. So the main projects that will come out of that definition from our perspective will be feed-in tariff projects, especially because they, the Bürgerenergiegesellschaften in the new law will have it easier to have bigger installations and to get a higher feed-in tariff for the projects. So we will see, or we see that this is in a way, it's a bit like a turn backwards to the feed-in tariff system.
Thank you. We have another question for you.
Yeah, thank you. As a basis of the project, of the new EU project, I think there's a very detailed definition of energy communities. Do you think that some of those energy cooperatives will fulfill these definition, or are they, most of them, quite a little bit different from that?
Yes, as I mentioned before, we already made one survey with our members, and they said that they are like more than 70% are feel like they are in line with the new definition. So I think that a lot of them will fall into or be in line with the new definition. With all the aspects, the regional aspects, how many regional members or how many members should come from the region, how is the organization-wise, because cooperatives are a very democratic form, and you have this one member, one vote system. And so you have a lot of aspects that where you see that the definition will be in line with the energy cooperatives. But there are some examples also that we will see if they will be already in line. We have some bigger energy cooperatives that are not regional based, but they are active national wise. So we will see what will happen with them. And from my perspective, it won't be something where we say, okay, this whole energy cooperative will become an energy community, but they will maybe do energy community projects. So they will make a certain project as an energy community, something like this. But I would say that we will see that in the upcoming year.
Thank you. So let's see if we have some other question from online.
So no questions from the online audience, no.
Okay, so thank you. Germany is definitely one of those countries with a long history of cooperatives mainly. And just to clarify, a cooperative can be an energy community. So but now I think the situation in Germany compared to other countries that maybe don't have such an history is that they find the situation where they already have lots of cooperative existing, and now there is this extra law coming in, and they need to try to align with the new definition that the Commission is making to try to foster community in other member states where maybe there wasn't such a good history. But in some situation like Germany, we have here from Benjamin, this has created a little bit of an issue. Now they are trying to understand how they can comply with the new law. But in other countries, the directives, the Rural Energy Directive and the Electricity Market Directive, hopefully will give the needed push to start developing energy communities. But thank you very much, Benjamin, and hope to hear from here soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
So now, the slides, can they come up again? Yes. So now I pass the floor to Henry. He's going to tell you more about our activities and what we have been developing until now. And at the end of his session, we'll also have some more Mentimeter questions. So please answer again. And I just want to say one thing before. For the people online, we are organizing some breaking rooms at the end. While we have some networking in the room here, for the online people, we are organizing networking and breakout rooms online. So please don't disconnect immediately as Henry finishes presentation, but stay online because you will have the opportunity to speak to some of the other people connected. So just wanted to flag this. So thank you, Henry. The floor is yours.
Sorry. So hi, I'm Henry. I'm going to present to you some slides that are based on the national context of Italy and Ireland, looking at their funding opportunities, some of their national policies, and some of their unique strategies. I'll also go through some guidance documents, the first 3 that we've produced, and then at the end I'll go through a couple of best practice examples, followed by the Mentimeter. So the RED II directive, which we brought up a few times already, introduces the concept of renewable energy effectively as a legal entity based on the open and voluntary participation of stakeholders or members consisting of individuals, small and medium companies and local authorities which own renewable energy production plants. And the main objective of these communities is not just to provide economic benefits, but also social and environmental to its shareholders, and also the areas in which they operate, where these benefits can be reinvested in the community through other projects. Something to point out, some countries haven't yet transposed the directive, although the deadline has already passed, so I think most countries in the EU will eventually transpose these. As mentioned, I'll go through Italy and Ireland. We were going to go through Germany as well, but we're a bit short for time, and Benjamin covered that fairly well already. And I'll just go through some of the national limitations and benefits due to the national context of policy and funding. So firstly, Italy. Italy has, in fact, transposed the directive a couple of years ago. With the following characteristics, mainly that private companies should not represent their main commercial activity. Plants admitted to the renewable energy community must be less than 200 kilowatts each. Final customers also, there needs to be a lot of transparency, so effectively final customers can choose their own seller, they can withdraw from the community at any time, and they can share the energy produced through the network, and in fact this is promoted heavily in Italy. Consumer withdrawal points must also belong to the same secondary transformer substation where the plant entry point is located. There's a couple of other national policies. There's the ARERA resolution, which defines the use and operation of a renewable energy community. And then we also have the Ministerial Decree, MISE, which identifies the incentive rates and remuneration of the renewable source of the renewable energy community. So that could be feed-in tariffs, other kinds of benefits due to the choosing to produce renewable energy as opposed to fossil fuel-based production. And then there's the GSE, and they're the body that choose who can gain the incentives based on applications. So some of the policy benefits: self-consumption through the energy produced allows avoidance of purchase costs, network charges, and system charges. And this is mainly provided through incentives. There's a couple of types of incentives. There's two for shared energy. The first is the MISE incentive, which is effectively a feed-in tariff, as you can see, to 110 euros per megawatt hour. The second is the reimbursement of ARERA components equal to 8 to 10 megawatts per hour, and this value is dependent on the type of activity of the community. And this is effectively a reimbursement for distribution costs. So connecting to the network, there's normally a cost paid to Enel, which is the Italian energy provider. For the energy that's not self-consumed and fed into the grid, it's also possible to obtain this GSE incentive for dedicated withdrawal or consideration as a sale of excess for the energy to a wholesaler. So where you get some communities that are quite small and may have, say, a wind turbine, they're producing significantly more energy than the requirements of that local area. They're able to sell it to the community, to the national grid. So a couple of the national funding programs and incentives. You've got the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. Italy has thrived off this in the last couple of years for the creation of communities. And as you can see, it's part of the Mission 2, Component 2, so it's even been listed as an incentive. It's aimed at public administrations, households, and micro-enterprises. I think particularly poignant for rural energy communities is this element on areas with less than 5,000 people. Italy in particular has a problem with ageing populations. Particularly in rural areas, they have the case where most young people especially are leaving due to lack of employment opportunities, lack of social connectivity. And so some of the benefits obviously of the communities come through here through creating sort of citizen engagement and employment. The aims of the fund is to provide resources for up to 2,000 megawatts of electricity generation capacity nationally, with 1.6 billion euros to be allocated. Plants up to 200 kilowatts can be incentivized with the maximum cost financed at 1,000 euros per kilowatt. There are some prerequisites through authorizations of the systems that they're choosing to put into place, estimates for the cost for the connection to Enel, and forecast maximum times for the entry into operation. And then also GSE, the body that assigns these incentives, will take part in some technical preliminary investigations, particularly for applications for funding. There's also an eco bonus in Italy. This is for PV construction, so it covers up to 50% of investment cost reduction over 10 years. This obviously creates a lot of security for investments in renewable energy. And there's also a super bonus applied to the expense share corresponding to the maximum power of 20 kilowatts. So looking at the current situation and future solutions, there is going to be an update to some of the legislation, hopefully later this year. They're looking to increase the system power up to 200 kilowatts. The aggregation of users and at the same primary substation, as mentioned before, it's currently at the secondary substation for users. Other bodies may also participate. As we've seen, there are quite a diverse range of bodies that can be included in energy communities, but this could potentially increase to include research and training bodies and other third sector bodies. It also will allow plants to enter that were in operation before the directive was transposed, and they can now become part of a rural energy community or create their own. So a slightly different national context is Ireland. The concept of rural energy communities really came to fruition in Ireland with a publication called Towards the Low Carbon Economy in 2015. And since then, some subsequent national policies, funding schemes and strategy measures have come into place, listed below. And from the diagram on the right-hand side, you can see that the efforts that have been put in Ireland have affected mainly these bottom two circles, SEC, which stands for Sustainable Energy Communities, and the Energy Citizen. And at the top level, you can see the international scale of this. So you have the SCAI, and this is Ireland's National Energy Authority. They effectively established the Sustainable Energy Community Network in 2016. It now has over 600 community groups registered, all diverse in nature, as we spoke about before. It can involve local environmental groups, community development organisations, even small businesses and municipalities. And basically, any community that's part of this network has access to a community mentor, and there's community mentors split across the 4 regions of Ireland. They even have technical mentors nationally. And they also partake in a lot of dissemination activities, much like us, through quarterly newsletters. You also have regional newsletters, and that will have updates to funding opportunities, policy measures, and various changes even at EU level. So the SEC journey effectively maps out this pathway from the initial idea for communities and to the point of implementation. That ideally, from the perspective of SCAI, is to apply to the SEC network, be introduced to your mentor, and that way you can experiment and understand what your opportunities are based on your demographic, the area, the types of people that are part of your community. And then it goes to the planning phase, and finally the implementation phase. And the bit we're going to concentrate on next is number 6, which is applying for community energy plan funding. The SCAI encouraged that members of this community commit to an energy master plan. This provides a summary of the energy used in the community, effectively a baseline. Then they're able to look at whether the community can be more efficient, whether they can produce more energy, become self-sufficient even. And then a part of this plan is a detailed energy audit. It's going to look specifically at local buildings and households to see exactly where these opportunities can be put into place. And it will then, in turn, provide a roadmap for each facility in terms of cost of their energy upgrades, payback, and saving. There's no obligation for any energy communities to partake in this or to even act on the energy master plan, but it is encouraged. Here's a little breakdown of the funding. The funding does in fact go up to national level, but I think considering we're presenting for rural energy communities, the only 2 that are relevant at the moment are for villages and towns and islands. You can see it's up to €10,000 for communities spending up to 2 million on energy, 15,000 for communities spending up to 20 million on energy. And at the moment there are 2 key capital funding schemes for communities. You've got the National Retrofit Scheme, which aims to set up one-stop shops. So looking at households, looking at community buildings and seeing how they can become more efficient, whether that could be implementing smart meters, other ways of increasing energy efficiency in households as opposed to production. Then you have the Better Energy Community Scheme, and this was a pilot scheme, and it's probably not been as effective, particularly for rural energy communities or smaller communities. Many large firms and large commercial outfits are able to apply, and applications require a lot of technical knowledge of energy and sample energy audits. So the competitive nature of this means that often the smaller communities have lost out. There's also the Renewable Energy Support Scheme. It allows renewable energy projects to enter a competitive auction process. Successful projects then receive 15 years of a guaranteed price for that energy from the state. This really helps boost security of funding, knowing that in the long term certain projects that might have a long lifetime will be worthwhile. It also allows community renewable projects to be supported without having to compete fully with these commercial projects. And it also ensures community projects have the access to the electricity grid, something that isn't always easy in some countries. It's quite hard to go through the distributor. It's also some larger networks monopolise the market. There are some other support schemes, notably the first one on behavioural change. This can be vital for dissemination activities, engagement, particularly for rural organisations. This could be quite important, trying to get members involved and trying to really sell it to the communities that are in more secluded places with less access to information. And then we also have the support scheme to renewable heat and microgeneration, and the SEAI and SEC network provide mentors for all of these. So moving on to the guidance documents, I'm going to go through just sort of the rationale for why we've chosen these 3 guidance documents initially, a brief overview of what's inside them, and a brief coverage of future guidance documents. So firstly, a survey of 13,500 citizens across 9 countries showed only 16% of citizens are aware of energy communities, with 4% being members, highlighting the importance of citizen engagement for the success of communities. And we also established in our launch event and through other projects as well, that citizens not being aware of energy communities and a lack of skills are the 2 main barriers. So guidance document number 1 is on creating value and engaging citizens in the energy transition. We're going to look at the current state. It looks at the current state of the European energy markets, covering the Russia's war in Ukraine. At the moment, obviously, energy security is vital, and it's quite a big issue that's come up in the last year or so. And I think we're all dreading the winter coming up. It also looks at definitions and activities of rural energy communities. You can see the table on the right-hand side. These are the 2 definitions that are under the RED II directive. You've got citizen energy communities and renewable energy communities. A couple of the key differences are that renewable energy communities are restricted by geographical location. They also have a slightly more restrictive membership with SMEs, individual persons, and municipalities being allowed to be involved, but no energy companies or larger enterprises. It's slightly more open for citizen energy communities. There's not actually geographical restriction, but more it's based, I can't actually read that, but it's based on interest, sorry. Then the other thing is all communities look at environmental, social and economic benefits. I think this is vital, particularly in rural areas, as mentioned with the context of Italy. They're suffering from depopulation, aging populations, and energy communities can really help this. There's also a couple of success stories in there for inspiration. We've tried to choose a diverse range of success stories because in certain areas you might be limited by your geographic location. There might be limitations due to population. There might be limitations due to national policy context. But I think most of the success stories really show that it's possible to set up an energy community virtually anywhere in Europe. And then we also have some information to relevant booklets, other websites, other European projects that have taken place, and newsletters. Guidance document 2 looks at joining or setting up a new rural energy community. It covers what makes a successful energy community, which I think can be broken down into the following 5 categories. It starts with a committed group of individuals who are quite driven and able to process an idea, whether that be energy generation, gaining funding, anything like this. The project does require adequate time. Often, I think, initially it can be quite a lot of voluntary work, which creates a lot of difficulties, particularly for a lot of people who might be navigating full-time jobs at the same time. But the required time, information, skills and finances and resources are out there, and I think that's partly why the Recall Hub exists so that we might be able to guide communities towards what they might be looking for. Also understanding what your community needs, whether that be successful engagement strategies to understand early on what they need. You can have co-learning sessions. There's obviously the opportunity for a lot of communities to meet just from a social aspect, but also to understand what people want, whether that's energy efficiency, whether that's reinvestment in the community, or more electricity generation, so looking at economic benefits. Networking is vital, as we've just spoken about, particularly with local authorities, gaining planning permission. A lot of projects put PV installations on public roofs, things like this, and having support from local authorities and citizens can really help remove some of these barriers. And then a supportive national policy context. Again, part of the Recall project will be looking to be able to give some support and guidance in a specific national policy context. Just going on to our last guidance document, which is guidance document 3. This will be on obtaining and managing finances. As you can see, there's some good examples here on the board. Looking at feed-in tariffs, we've already spoken about them today. Subsidies for renewable energy projects in particular, and regional energy strategies that support local ownership, particularly in national examples. Just to clarify as well that the first 2 guidance documents are already published on the website. The third will be released with the launch of our next newsletter. So some of the proposed future guidance documents we will go through in a minute in the Mentimeter section to hear your opinion on what you think would be a priority. Probably a couple to mention would be number 9, from energy community to enabler. Certainly a good opportunity, having seen Benjamin's examples of what enablers get up to, and a lot of energy communities, once they progress, probably have the opportunity to do the same. Also, interaction with farmers. We're obviously particularly looking at the rural areas. The opportunities for collaboration with farmers is something that could be of interest to a lot of energy communities. So this could also be something that's quite important in a guidance document. We also have a couple of best practice case studies, one from France and one from Germany. The first from France is a citizen-owned wind turbine that succeeded more than 7,000 megawatts of energy in its first couple of years. Megawatt hours of energy, excuse me. The organisational structure is that it's owned by the energy cooperative Jurassic. It brings together 600 plus citizens and 40 investment clubs. Investment clubs effectively really help with citizen engagement, bringing in new members and aspects like this. And it has 1 member to 1 vote. So irrespective of the amount of financing that's been put in, it doesn't matter. Every member is entitled to the same vote. Looking at the next energy community, we're moving to Germany. This was actually a speaker at our launch event. This is for a hydroelectric plant based in the mountainous region of Allgäu Alps. They've been around for over 100 years and have produced up to 4,000 megawatts hours of energy per year. They're an electricity utility company owned by the members of the energy cooperative, which brings together 319 members. Also includes the municipality and local SMEs. So having all of these together, I think really has helped provide the longevity for this particular energy community. One probably notable impact or factor is the last point, the flexible structure allowing flexibility to employees and needs of rural life. Being in the mountainous region, half of the employees work in mountain rescue, and they're able to take a flexible approach, which means they're able to dedicate adequate time and focus to the project when necessary, and to the community when necessary. So now we'll look on to the Mentimeter, so if you can all log in again, that would be great. We will get the correct question up when it comes. The code is just written across the top, if any of you need that again to get back into the account. So, what type of support would you consider needed to be added? Wait, that's not the right one. Is there one beforehand? What type of support do you think a rural energy community would need the most? So we're looking at technology and system-related advice, legal and regulatory. It looks like technology and system-related advice. So we'll probably wait just a little bit longer. I think it's obviously clear to see that legal and regulatory support is quite fundamental. Looking at local communities, projects, and gaining assistance from local authorities, but also policy at national level is so different across countries. So it's probably unsurprising, and investment and financial assistance, particularly in the startup phase, I can imagine. So looking at the next. So what type of support would you consider needed to be added between legal, community animation, investment, tech support, investment? Any other suggestions? Is it possible to expand at all on incentives? Anyone who wrote that one? Also, anyone that's answering these questions online, feel free to post something in the chat as well, and we'll see if we can try and answer them. Governmental support, soft skills, okay. Financial warranties. Obviously, security of investment. Okay. I think we've seen community animation a couple of times. Knowledge sharing, okay. Should we move on to the next question? So I obviously briefly touched on the future guidance documents. If you could pick the most important future guidance documents suggested from the list, that would be great. And rank them. Okay, for how and why TNOs and DNOs should take part, if anyone has put that, can you expand on what you might be expecting? Okay, and how and why farmers should participate? What kind of aspects would you be looking for in the guidance document? If anyone would like to share who's put that, that would be greatly appreciated. And online as well. It's good to know that all of them are popular to some extent. Okay, would anyone like to expand on anything that they voted for? Any of the top three? No? Okay, we can move on, I think. So are there any other guidance documents that you would like to receive? Do you think there's something we've missed off out of the first three, or even these future guidance documents that we've proposed? Expert list, nice. I think that goes back to the previous slide of participating with farmers, so it's interesting. Lessons learned, okay. There is actually a list of other networks and other projects that have taken place on the website as well. We're not the only project that's running for energy communities. Okay, perfect. Resume of national laws in each country referred to, okay. I think part of the technical assistance might be able to help with some of the more specific details on this. Okay. Are there any questions? Should we move on to the next one? And do you think in-depth best practice examples from other communities would be helpful to develop your own community? I obviously mentioned we use quite a range of success stories, and hopefully this is beneficial and is relatable to anyone that's trying to set up an energy community within some respects. And it looks like you agree, so that's good. Okay, great. I think we've got the general consensus on that one. Should we move on to the next? I think that might be... No? Okay. Do you think energy communities will strongly develop in your member state in future, and why? When you say maybe, are you able to expand on maybe? Is there a reason why or why not? Okay, policies and supports need to be improved. Okay. Regulation at national level, yeah, I think this will start improving. As I say, the RED II directive deadline to be transposed has passed, and it looks like most countries are really trying to go full steam ahead with that. So that should obviously remove some ambiguity from that. Hopefully we're part of the process to remove the lack of direction and supports. Okay, perfect. So thank you all for your contributions. we'll move forward with that. If you've got any questions at all, then obviously feel free to talk to us in the breakout rooms, but also in the networking that we've got available now for the remaining 20-25 minutes or so. I'll pass you back to you, Eugenia. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think we are at the end of our event. So as a reminder, this is our website. So the guidance document Henry described to you are available on our website, the first two, so how to set up an energy community and how to engage with citizens. They are there for download, and we will publish the third one about investment needs, funding resources, and how to manage funding and finance in the next newsletter. So if you haven't done it already, please join our newsletter so you will be aware on when the new guidance will be released. Also, in the next newsletter, we'll find 2 of the 20 best case example that we will deliver under this project, 2 of which were presented briefly by Henry because we didn't have much time, but a full document with lots of information in there will be circulated with the newsletter and also will be available on the website. So please do join the newsletter and check out the website. So as I said, all the attendees online now will be randomly assigned to 3 meeting rooms where you will meet other teams, members of the RECA team, and they will help you to do some networking, because one of the things that we really think is necessary and much helpful and needed is networking between actors in these fields. So please do stay online. 10 minutes, 15 minutes is just to give you the opportunity to say who you are, ask us so many questions, and meet other people. And for the person that are still in the room, we are going to have a little bit of a break here, opportunity to ask us some more questions, and then there will be buses for anyone that needs to go and join the ERP launch event. So it's all organized for you. There will be one leaving at 17:05 and another one leaving at 17:15. So, and if needed, there will be also a third bus, I think. So yeah, thank you very much. And hopefully we have inspired you and gave you lots of information and encouraged you to start an energy community and apply to our technical assistance. Thank you.